So the last time that Pierre and I saw each other was at my brother's wedding, where Pierre was the drunkest I've ever seen a man be. But before that, the time before that was at my brother's stag party. And I have this vivid memory, which has now been distorted by gender shenanigans, of standing next to the grill as Pierre is grinning like a lunatic, burning this chicken that's raw on the inside. And my brother slumps unconscious on the French grass, dressed as Jimmy Savile.
Your brother's hangover the next morning was the most spiritual hangover I think I've ever seen. It was like watching a man commune with something much deeper than chemicals.
I want to ask about the Savile costume. This was after the revelation?
This was after... They made him dress up in it and go to the airport. They flew to France with him dressed as Savile the whole way.
Oh, it was a punishment Savile costume.
Yeah.
Like an IRA punishment beating. We're going to make you dress up as Jimmy Savile.
We're going to send you into Shankle dressed as Jimmy.
Die Hard 3, but he's on the street corner in New York dressed as Jimmy Savile.
Just a guy
now then.
A guy in a
The
balaclava.
sign says, I heart kids.
I'll fix it for you. I'll fix it for you, mate.
Your target is inside this children's hospital. In order to get in.
It was a major L.
Oh my god. Fine. You know what? I was going to use something else for the theme, but I'll do this.
Hell, Mr. Bond.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of
Kill James Bond.
The podcast, where we have discovered so many drops in this movie that the podcast now does itself. It's just a soundboard with hosts attached. I am Alice Caldwell-Cowley. My pronouns are she and her. Joining me are... Go.
My name is Abigail Thorne. My pronouns are also she and her.
I just assume that I'm going to be third in all of these things. My name is Devon, and my pronouns are they, them.
And we have a guest, comedian Pierre Novellie is joining us to tell us about Abigail's brother's Jimmy Savile costume. Pierre, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good. I'm sort of I'm reaching the point of you know I actually enjoyed lockdown for the first genuinely for the first 6 months, and even I'm reaching my limit of staying indoors at this point.
Yeah, and to make it worse for you, we made you watch Diamonds Are Forever.
Well, see, Diamonds Are Forever, I genuinely, if you'd asked me before this and you'd said, hey, have you seen it? I would have said yes. And I hadn't actually seen it.
No, it's like a filler movie, right? It's one of those things that you think you've seen.
It was so strange because I know the theme, and a friend of mine and I have an in-joke about the theme, and I was, oh yeah, I've seen that. And then the more I watched it, the more I was sitting and thinking, what the fuck is this? I have no memory of any of these mutants.
No.
It's a movie where a lot of things happen.
So many things.
And they aren't really connected to each other. Wanda just...
It reminded me of a Shakespeare play where they were like, actually, that was him, and there was a mask, and secretly, it was his brother, and also there's a sheriff, and they just got excited, and they put every character in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We're here for George Lazenby's second movie, but as I'm excited to learn, George Lazenby has fucked off. He's not doing any more of these. And so we have this discussion from the makers of the James Bond movies about who's going to do it. They ask Burt Reynolds to do it. They ask the guy who played OSS 117 in one of the 60s movies. They ask Adam West if he wants to play James Bond, and he turns it down.
They also, if my understanding is correct, they also asked Timothy Dalton if he wanted to.
Yeah, and he said he was too young. Yeah.
And he came back.
So they asked Sean Connery, and Sean Connery, being entirely mercenary, is just like, yeah, all right, if you pay me the highest an actor has ever been paid to do a role at that point, if you pay me $1.25 million, Mr. Bond, If you cut your special effects budget for this movie in half and take all of that money and deposit it directly into my bank account, I will come back and I will play James Bond again.
It's pretty amazing to get as an actor for your fee the kind of money that James Bond would be held for ransom for.
Yeah. Sean Connery much closer to a supervillain here than James Bond. But we get our pre-credit sequence. He fucking catches up to Blofeld by the simple expedient of doing a montage. And I don't know why he didn't think of doing this before, but he just, like, he hits 3 people and strangles a woman because we have to get this back on the right foot. None of this, like, gay Lazenby shit where he's nice to women anymore.
The world's most ADR'd Bond just beats up successive guys in various settings.
He beats up 3 men and a woman and is like, where's Blofeld? Each of them gives him a clue, and he's like, I have found him. Very, very easily done.
Do you think it's just a sign of, like, it could be an advert for, like, Ritalin, where it's like, this is how well things go when you do your job.
Yeah, this is how much more productive Bond is now that he's taking this.
He didn't try and fuck or fight anyone for over 10 minutes. He just said, please give me the next information I need.
Yeah, he just
some sort of
worked.
Detective.
He worked, yeah.
He did his job.
And so we find out that Blofeld is negotiating the NHS gender identity clinic system, and I have a drop for this.
I want the operation done tonight.
But, senor...
There's no time left.
But, Senor Blofeld, this is a most delicate procedure. It cannot...
Tonight.
And he's having plastic surgery done.
I wish.
But Blofeld isn't fucking Donald Pleasance or Telly Savalas anymore. He's Charles Gray. And we've seen Charles Gray before in the Bond movies.
We've seen Gray.
Devon and I have an in-joke based on You Only Live Twice, which he's in. He's Captain Henderson in that movie. He's the British agent in Tokyo. And we have a joke about the way he delivers one of his lines, which is...
Oh, you must excuse this rather odd mixture of styles, but I refuse to go entirely Japanese.
Just because the way he goes up at the end.
I refuse to go entirely Japanese.
He's so good.
It's so
They've
good.
finally cracked Blofeld, and they've realized the secret is to make him older than James Bond, so he's not like trying to outdick him like Terry Savalas was. He's just an older man who just treats Bond with contempt. He treats him as he deserves to be treated, like a fucking child, and it's beautiful.
He's going to tell Japanese.
And he's gay.
Yeah,
He's very gay.
The top of my notes for this movie was simply Blofeld gay ?
But it like that to me made the most sense of anything, because the joke is always like, well, why don't you just shoot James Bond in the head and dump him in a river? Why all this talking and look at this wonderful lair? I have koi fish, just showing him around. He's like, well, I need to keep him safe so I can fuck him later. I'm going to fuck James Bond. That's my plan. I'm going to fuck James Bond. I haven't decided how I'm going to fuck James Bond, but I know I need him alive, at least. I'm not sick. I can't just shoot him.
This is the gayest and therefore also the most homophobic Bond movie. There's a lot to dig into about this, but we find that Blofeld is having doubles get plastic surgery to look like him through an expedient of rubbing a bunch of mud on them, like hot mud. This is
hot mud.
I have a little bit of hashtag BTS here, and that's that in order to do this, they didn't use mud. What they used was mashed potatoes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now, I want you to imagine having mashed potatoes under studio lights that are like a couple of days old, just being rubbed on your face, and think about how much you like acting that you're still willing to do
that. My God, yeah.
There was a guy fully submerged in them. It was
just having,
that's not the worst set I've worked on.
Just having mashed potatoes rubbed in your face, tepid mashed potatoes, and just thinking, surely he could just do what Saddam Hussein does and just like find guys who look quite like him.
How difficult is it to find 3 guys that look like Charles Gray? But no, he has to surgically modify his henchmen. He has to give them FFS.
So Bond breaks in and undergoes like a Bodger and Badger kind of early 90s gunging, where he just like pours additional mashed potatoes on this one guy's head to
Bond
death.
gets his own back.
Yeah, Charles Gray as Blofeld then holds him up with henchmen, and he has henchman fits this time because all of his henchmen have color-coordinated jumpsuits, hard hats, and the hard hats have like a lightning bolt on them. It's very funny.
I'd like to see James Bond say, "I'm looking for Dave Benson Phillips."
This is the most fucked Bond gadget, right? Is Blofeld is like, right, search him, take his gun off him. And the guy takes he puts his hand in Bond's pocket, and a fucking mouse trap closes on his fingers. Why did you have a mouse trap? Why did you do that?
For the same reason that flower he wears later shoots water. You know, he's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's a clown. He's a clown to me. Yeah. So, but the thing is, right, Blofeld gets fucking killed. Bond dumps him into a thing of superheated mud.
Gunges him as well.
Yeah, he gunges Blofeld. We get Shirley Bassey doing the diamonds are forever, this sort of thing. Fine, great. That's the opening sequence. And then Blofeld's just dead.
Yeah, I'd like to point something else about this opening sequence, which is that it's 5 minutes long. We've had 4 changes of location with no establishing shots. We've had one sexy lady. We've had the concept of magic plastic surgery. We've had 8 different speaking characters, no context. It needs to be said that this film, it comes from the era before they invented editing. It is shockingly badly edited.
I wanted to say that, like, the whole movie I was watching, thinking about the editing, and like I was just obviously I'm watching it on an HD screen that, you know, it wasn't designed for, but fucking hell, does it look like... It looks worse than, like, Movie Maker, Windows Movie Maker, kind of star
like
wipe.
A star wipe, yes.
Yeah. And, like, even when they kind of, like, clumsily zoom in on the cat's necklace, because the cat's kind of going, because Blofeld's dead. And then it just kind of goes, junk, and there's, like, a diamond on the other side of the screen.
Yeah.
And then it starts going...
Beautiful work.
It's ugly stuff.
So we get the usual sort of setting up with M thing, but what's really funny is this is our first real look at Connery in the, like, time that he's taken off.
Ugh.
Dude looks so fucking old now. He looks like Morrissey. He looks like
ass.
He's wearing a girdle under his suit, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of shapewear, right? But the fact that it's like, it makes him walk funny when he's walking, because he's just like, squeezed into this thing. But the script is still like, Bond has this sort of like schoolboy repartee with M, right? M's like, are you listening, 007? And Bond has to like sort of read stuff back to him. And it's like, no, this is this fucking like 50-year-old man looking every fucking year of it because he smokes 60 cigarettes a day and like drinks too much. He looks like Morrissey. He looks like late stage Morrissey.
He does look like Morrissey.
To be fair, the first 2 people he punches are like the kind of people Morrissey would punch, or the kind of people Morrissey imagines are bad. Where it's like a guy in a kind of like fez,
yeah,
and then like just a generically kind of Asian guy, and then strangling a woman and yelling at them. That seems like the kind of thing that Morrissey would at least put into a wish fulfillment music video these days.
So what M tells him is...
I remind you, 007, that Blofeld's dead. Finished.
The least we can expect from you now is a little plain, solid work.
Which, fine, okay, obviously that can't last. But what we're doing is diamond smuggling. And this, we get...
Oh god, we get a fucking clip here, don't we?
Oh boy. Dev, do you wanna explain the way they treat the diamond industry in this?
Oh, the diamond industry? Yeah, okay. So the guy's like, Bond, what do you know about diamonds? And he's like, very shiny, girl's best friend, reckon. And he's like, well, we mine them in South Africa. And then it cuts to like a mine just full of people of color in South Africa mining, and then he's starting talking about how like great the security is and what a fulfilling profession it is. All the while we're seeing some miner like steal diamonds and put them in his pocket.
They say the phrase "loyalty and devotion of the industry's workers" twice in one sentence.
Surely, like, even then, it must have been a bit tongue in cheek, right? Because he's saying loyalty and devotion while they're stealing it. Obviously, it's still
Yeah, we see their security system being easily defeated because this Afrikaner dentist is paying off the miners to smuggle diamonds out in their mouths.
He's also like every South African you ever see on television or film.
Pretty
not
ruddy.
South African.
No.
They never. They can't seem to find one. They just go. Well, do you know a guy from Sussex who can impersonate a kind of Dutch guy he met once?
Yeah, what if we just found an angrier and redder English person? That's what they're like, probably.
Yeah. We found a guy from Kent who's got a lisp. Is that the same? And everyone who's ever casted anything goes, yeah, that's actually better.
Yeah. So this dentist...
You've got this guy doing an impression of a guy called Jerk Vanderklerk.
He's gone smuggling diamonds. Yeah, so he takes these diamonds out into the desert where we meet Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill.
Oh my god, these fucking guys.
This is Mr. Kidd.
I fucking love these guys, right? Even though I hate the way they're written. Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are a gay couple, right?
100%. Textually.
Yeah, textually. Like, they fucking kill people and then they walk off holding hands. And we got a reply on the Twitter account, because I mentioned this, right? And somebody on the Twitter account replied to us and said, yeah, I saw this movie when I was a kid, and it was the first time that I'd seen two men holding hands. And I just sort of filed that away in my brain, and that's the only thing I took from this movie. And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be crying because of a Twitter account reply. Thanks.
But they are international diamond smuggling gay lovers, which honestly, goals.
I don't think they're diamond smugglers. They're just assassins.
Yeah, they're assassins.
But they're being paid to like close up all of the diamond smuggling loops, so the dentist gets got.
It's a bizarre sort of Blofeld scheme, right? It's not spoilers to say that it's Blofeld. Obviously, it's fucking Blofeld. But Blofeld's deal here is, I'm going to employ these two gay guys to kill everyone who is, like, useful to me as soon as they're finished doing the thing.
Yeah, because that's Spectre shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, I'm going to kill everyone who finds me diamonds, even though if I gave them 1,000 years, they couldn't imagine that I want the diamonds for space.
Yeah, the only link between these people is the fact that I am hiring these guys to kill them, but I'm gonna do it.
Also, Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill, like, I kind of get the dynamic. They're both sort of like, presumably in love, but also sociopaths because they're murderers and they're very like, they love to murder because they keep giggling when they murder. But how do you meet? How do you meet? How did that happen?
Yeah.
What's the first date look like for that kind of couple?
Their eyes meet across a crowded room where they're both shooting people.
How do you meet in the 70s?
Yeah, I genuinely, there's so much about Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd that I like. And I feel like the actors rescued what was a really, like, rancid piece of script writing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like 100% this pair was born out of a pernicious strain of homophobia that sort of treats being gay as like a subcategory of being a pedophile, just based on the way they're portrayed. But also, I can't help but find them quite charming, just on how they're played.
It's entirely without the text, because they kill a couple of guys, they go to a Bible school, like a missionary school, which is also like weird 70s Africa vibes. And the woman running it is a kind of criminal travel agent who takes them to Amsterdam, which means Bond has to go too. He has to stand on the honk. He has to go to Holland.
I'd like to say something about Bond's mission before we jet off to Amsterdam. So Bond is told that these international diamond smugglers are losing the diamond industry money. So first of all, we're just doing Goldfinger again, but with diamonds.
Yes.
But second of all, like,
diamond fall down.
The stakes of this film so far are that this apartheid profiteering diamond corporation is making slightly less profit than normal. And this is all the justification that James Bond needs to, as we will see, murder a man. He kills people for this. Like, that is the stakes. Like, in this film, it's so
Plain,
naked
honest
that Bond
work,
is just
007.
Bond is just like a naked agent of capital. He is a Tory fucking lapdog. He murders people for the De Beers family. Like, it really is like, it's paper thin. The ideology is like thick on the ground in this one.
But the most unrealistic part was that there was a British aristocrat who'd somehow managed to retain a diamond mine.
Sold off to Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, this is it. Yeah. Was that Emeralds, his dad?
That was Emeralds.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the apartheid emerald? So we also get to see Moneypenny in this. Lois Maxwell wasn't going to be in this movie, but she held out. She demanded that she be in it. And God bless her for that. Not only because it was more expensive, but due to what I still fervently believe was sort of an accident on purpose thing, none of the original filming came out, so they had to shoot her scene twice, so she got paid twice as much. And she bought herself a fur coat with that money.
She also had to wear a hat during the only scene she was in because she dyed her hair and refused to dye it back.
Absolute queen. Yeah, she's playing a customs inspector. They at the port of Dover, they misdirect this diamond smuggler called Peter Franks, arrest him. Bond takes his place and steals his identity, right, and heads off to Amsterdam to make contact with his diamond smuggling sort of empire.
Well, through what method did he go to Amsterdam?
The fucking speed link. The highest of British technology. We're going to send you on a hovercraft with a British Rail logo on it. This is the most cutting edge shit we can imagine.
Bond's going to smoke a few bifters with the lads. He's on the hovercraft. It's time for a long weekend away.
Maybe I'm young, but I had no fucking idea that there was a channel crossing hovercraft service.
Nor did I.
Yeah.
So I looked into it, and not only was it a channel crossing hovercraft service, it was a nationalized channel crossing hovercraft service, a subsidiary of British Rail.
Communism, Mr. Bond?
Started in 1968, merged with a competitor in 1981, and then couldn't compete with a channel tunnel.
Oh, sucks.
Sucks to suck.
I was trying to figure out from a cultural point of view. I was like, okay, how did they, like you said, like they've got apartheid diamond mines and all this, and they've got a kind of vaguely Afrikaans dentist. But I thought, why now? Why is Bond addressing South Africa even indirectly now? And I realized early 70s is when emigration was like from the UK to South Africa was very high because gold hadn't collapsed yet. South Africa was undergoing a huge economic boom because gold was just going mental and we had all the gold. And so then I think it must have just been in everyone's minds. They were just watching it going, yes, diamonds. I could move out there and have some diamonds.
Now watch closely, Bond. An ordinary Krugerrand, but if you press here and here, you can collapse the value of this currency. so he goes to Holland, where we see that Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill have murdered the nice old lady who was smuggling them, and we get once again another piece of script writing that is just like, oh, gay guys, that's a kind of pedo, right? Where they're like, oh, they're talking about the children she was teaching and how like they're going to bring them pictures of the canals that she had wanted, and it's just like I don't like that.
The thing about Wint and Kid,
Mr. Wint,
realized
Mr. Drill,
just now, Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill, my apologies, is it's quite a lot like what I said on the You Only Live Twice episode, which is that a lot of this was at the time inherently foreboding just because they were gay.
Yeah.
In the same way that being in Japan was inherently foreboding because you'd only dropped nukes on it like 20 years beforehand. No one knew what it was like over there. But now to us as a modern audience, it kind of seems quite normal to see very Japanese things. So we don't get that same sense of dread. We also don't get it with Wint and Kid, really.
Yeah, it just falls a bit flat.
A lot of the terror for a 70s audience was, look at these gay men. What could they be doing? But now we're just like, yep, gay guys, cool. Understand that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is it Wint and Drill?
No, it is Wint and Kid.
It is Wint and Kid. I was
going to say, wait, did this say where he got the name from? What kind of psychotic deep dive reference was that guy aiming for?
God, that'd be so good if that was.
Yeah.
Imagine if we'd cracked it.
So
wow.
Bond meets his contact, who is a lady called
Mr. Wint is he does kind of look like Drill.
That is true. That is true. Fuck.
They also say things that are quite like drill tweets. If man was meant to fly...
Mr. Wint, he would have given him wings, Mr. Kidd. Yeah. So Bond meets Tiffany Case, who gets an amazing scene with him where she changes wigs every time she comes back on screen.
Big wig budget.
She's like, she starts out as a blonde and then she comes in with as like a brunette and then as a redhead. And Bond gets the like supremely perv line, so long as the collars and the cuffs match, I don't mind. It's just like...
He then has quite a...
I would like a version of Bond where he just always says what he means. He can't do innuendo. You don't mind, do you, darling? As long as your pubes are the same color. Okay.
It's played off very suavely, though.
Yeah.
He does have quite a charming line where, so obviously when Bond meets her, she's in her pants, and she says, I'll finish dressing. And he, quite charmingly, says, oh, please don't, not on my account, which I thought was quite... He's actually genuinely quite suave in this scene.
She has some Dom vibes because she's like, I don't dress for the hired help. She gets Bond to smuggle these diamonds, which leads Sean Connery to say,
That's an awful lot of ice.
Which just appreciates. He's iced up. Hype beast Sean Connery just lives in my head rent free. Full of ice. But
I'm gonna sell that hype beast shirt.
Peter Franks easily escapes custody, and he kills a guard to do it. And the reason why he kills a guard is because Bond has to kill him, right? Because Peter Franks is going to go and expose him. But, like, killing a guy just to maintain your own cover is too espionage, is too real world for the Bond movie. So he has to, like, be a murderer in order to legitimize this use of violence against him. So Peter Franks shows up, walks past Connery, who hides himself by pretending to make out with himself.
Oh my god, that fucking bit.
Yeah, even though Franks couldn't see him from that angle, it's purely for our benefit in the camera because he was behind a staircase. Franks couldn't see him. I like to imagine that Bond just does that. Like that's his idle animation is if you leave him for too long, he just will make out with himself.
He's got light attack, heavy attack, grapple, and his idle animation as he starts making out with himself.
You select him on the loading screen and just starts doing that. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, and he follows Franks into this building's elevator while, for some reason, inexplicably pretending to be German.
Yeah.
He's just like, Guten Abend, I have the English. And it's like, you've never met this guy. You have no reason to be doing a fucked accent.
Yeah, it is me, the German man who was kissing himself.
Yes, everybody knows this famous Amsterdam comic character is the German man who makes out with himself.
I was self-kissing.
So he kills Franks, right? There's a fight. And he kills him by squirting a fire extinguisher on him, which is full of shaving foam, I guess, and throwing him over a thing. Yeah.
If they're fighting a lift, it's quite good.
And then he does some spy shit. He switches passports with him, and so they drag him indoors. And Tiffany Case is like,
"You just killed James Bond."
Perfect title drop.
Mm-hmm.
I did when he switched the passports, I did think, well, all those up-close magic classes have really paid off for James Bond.
He does this twice. He does two, sort of close-up magic things. The way that they recognize that it's Bond is from his Playboy Club membership card in his wallet.
It's a good thing that was there, and she didn't go, wait, this guy has a passport with your picture in it that says that you're James Bond.
Oh, fuck! Yeah, he switches a passport, which we have earlier seen to have his photograph in it, into this guy's pocket. Fuck. Shit, okay, that's... Oh, God.
I think he just swapped wallets into there.
Yeah.
Well, that deflates my thing. Whatever.
But this is just another one of those moments where it's like, everyone knows what James Bond looks like. Yeah, everyone knows who James Bond is.
Yeah.
If you drop the name James Bond, every criminal knows who that is, which is not good.
Do you think...
Batman.
They smuggle the diamonds to Los Angeles inside James Bond, inside this dead guy, up his ass, I think. Mm-hmm. Assuming I remember correctly what alimentary canal is, because there's a joke about that. Incidentally, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are, of course, following them because they're on the plane following the diamonds. And you get a really interesting line.
I must say, Miss Case seems quite attractive. For a lady.
And Mr. Wint just sort of stares at him with this like seething jealousy. And I don't know. It is cute. It's a little sort of humanizing moment almost.
I want to know what they said to the guy with the kind of like, he's bald, but he has long hair and a mustache, and they've told him not to shave the front bit, which is all scraggly.
Yeah, just look as creepy as you can.
Yeah,
that's great.
They said,
look as creepy as you can, unlike now beloved children's entertainer and local DJ Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, that's right. We want you to look like the version of Jimmy Savile that would have been shot on sight.
Yeah, we want you to look like the... just showing him a picture of Jimmy Savile. Right, look as far opposite from this totally normal man.
Yeah. This is a fun, trustworthy guy. Don't look like this.
Yeah, you want to look...
You want to look way different.
This guy's a kind of child safety icon. Don't look like him.
That explains so much about why Mr. Wint and Mr. Kid are the way they are. As like 70s Britain was so incredibly, laughably bad at recognizing dangers to children that they were just like, oh, dangers to children. Yeah, that's a guy who wears too much aftershave and a guy with a slightly scraggly haircut.
He's got a scraggly haircut, he wears aftershave, and his ties are a little loud, actually.
Yeah. So they fly this coffin with a body full of diamonds into Los Angeles, where we meet New Year, New Felix Leiter. This time it's a sort of Ernest Borgnine non-union equivalent.
I hate every single person in Felix Leiter's entourage in this fucking movie. The way they talk is insufferable to me.
I don't have any good drops for Felix Leiter because they're very boring.
They're his, like, mafia guys.
Yeah. His like
Bond
CIA
gets in the
guys.
car with a bunch of like wise guy mafia dudes.
Oh yeah, because they take the body in a hearse.
They do,
and the hearse is marked Slumber Inc. We get some good jokes about Italians in the hearse because they're like dumb or whatever. Fine. And then we get to the funeral parlor, and the first thing out of the guy's mouth is,
Mr. Franks, I'm Morton Slumber.
No, you're fucking... That's not a dude's name.
The point I paused it and walked around for a bit. I was like, oh, you're fucking knuckle. Morton Slumber.
Morton Slumber is like the name of a drag character who is an undertaker.
It's such a fucking good undertaker.
My name is Deathly Sleep. And I am an
sorry,
undertaker.
Yeah, but if you are a drag character who is an undertaker, your name is Rigor Mortis. Come on.
Yeah, that's good.
That is really good.
Oh, Pitt. Well, if Rigor Mortis is already taken, you're going to have to be Morton Slumber.
There you go. Morton Slumber, yeah, that's it. Hey, I run a funeral service. My name is Dead Body. Mr. Body. Thank you. Yes.
So they cremate Peter Franks, and of course, because like the diamonds are, very hard, they survive. The rest of him doesn't. And they bring him this urn filled with diamonds. Bond delivers these diamonds, collects his paycheck, and is then immediately hit on the back of the head and thrown into a coffin, where he is going to be fucking cremated by Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd. And they can't stop quipping. I love these guys so much, but they can't stop it. They launch the fucking coffin off, and they get 3 in succession, right? They go,
very moving. Heartwarming, Mr. Wint. A glowing tribute, Mr. Kidd.
Just bam, 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 quip, quip, quip.
So they're having fun with each other. Like, they're trying to make each other laugh. It's very cute.
I will say, the quip writers, the 100 Harvard Lampoon graduates who they had working on the quips for this film were not on their top. A glowing tribute is kind of like, okay, a fire's glowing, okay.
Very moving, just because the coffin itself has started moving at that point.
Find me a piece of life where you can't say very moving, where no one's moving. That's too broad a quip.
Sick
Try
burn,
again,
Mr. Kidd.
Just as Bond is about to be incinerated, and he's lasting a surprisingly long time in there, right? The coffin is yanked open, and we get,
"You dirty double-crossing limey fink, those goddamn diamonds are phonies."
Because, of course, we've got to do some Vegas shit, right? And that means...
What I like is that would have just killed James. Like, he had literally no way out. He was just rescued at the last minute.
Yeah, by a guy who calls him a dirty, double-crossing, no-good, limey fink. Because the diamonds are fake. The CIA have switched the diamonds, so he has delivered them fake ones. And he now has, 24 hours or whatever to get them the real ones, or they're going to kill him, right? Why would you send? Because we established this immediately thereafter, right? The guy that they send to do that, and the guy who calls him a fink, is an insult comic. He has a show at a casino in Vegas. You just sent one of the Rat Pack to come and kill this guy.
Was it the guy who called him a fink who was the comedian?
Yeah, Shady Tree, that character's name is.
Jeff Dunham. They had Jeff Dunham in this movie. It was like... And the way Bond finds out about this is so good as well. He's just fresh off getting his completely chewed out by these guys for giving fake diamonds, and he just sits in his room, opens up for fucking magazine, and there's that guy's face in big letters. And it's like, performing tonight in Vegas.
Yeah. So Felix is like, just sit tight for 24 hours. We'll figure out a plan to help you out. Just kind of sit tight for tonight. And Bond is like, yeah, okay, cool. And then he sees that Shady Tree, the diamond guy, is performing, so he goes to see him. When Bond arrives in Shady Tree's backstage room, Wint and Drill have already murdered him. Because they're closing the loopholes. And then this strange thing happens. And
then a very strange thing happened.
Bond finds that his main point of contact has been murdered, and then he decides to just
fuck around,
hit the craps table. He's like, I'm not going to report this. There's a corpse backstage, but I'm just going to go gamble. I guess I am just going to take the night off.
Yeah, I'm a compulsive gambler.
Yeah.
What's very funny is that after Wint and Kid kill Shady, they leave the room, and immediately the managers are like, they were fake diamonds. We need Shady alive still, and they were like, ooh,
bad news, boss.
Unfortunate.
I'm afraid we gay murdered him already.
Damn it, you gay murderers!
So what?
Be a little less efficient.
There's a deleted scene where they do Joker shit, and they try and suggest jokes for his act, and they have one of those guns that you pull the trigger and a little flag comes out saying "bang" on it. And then in the deleted scene, they show him that, and he's like, "What the fuck is this? This is bullshit." And he says, "Yes, but this next one will really kill you." And then he pulls the trigger, and it fires a bullet and kills him.
Oh, come on, that's so good.
They put so much effort into that murder. So, okay, Bond is playing the craps, and he meets
in a white dinner jacket.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
Yo, has your dad got a big dick?
What? That's my opening line always as well.
What? Why?
Yo, girl, I bet your dad's got a big dick. And then just don't explain it.
Can I, to get a sense of the kind of pipe your dad was like? Is this, implying that hot girls are hot because of how big the dad's dick?
Yeah, he's saying, oh, with tits like that, your dad must have had a huge dong. In England, I'm very charming.
Why would you say this?
He's wearing a white dinner jacket. He's wearing a white dinner jacket in a Vegas casino.
Yeah.
And
he's
he looks like
graying at the temples.
Prick. He is old enough to be this woman's father. It's really gross.
It's real gross. It's real bad. And she also, incidentally, how is Plenty O'Toole not the first trans Bond girl?
It's a very trans name.
Inexplicable to me. Anyway, he fucking gambles at craps. He takes her up to his hotel room because they're gonna fuck, and then oh shit, it's the goons. It's the mafia goons who throw her out of a window into a swimming pool. And then he looks out as she hits the pool. He's like, excellent shot, and the guy sort of deadpans. I didn't even know there was a pool there, which is very funny.
And then what Bond does is he assumes that they're going to try to kill him too, so he punches one in the face, and then they just leave, and there's a bit where Bond looks genuinely quite perturbed that he's just punched a guy who seems quite actually upset by it.
Dude, you got me right in the face. What the fuck?
There's a brief moment where Bond genuinely seems to think he's hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
And he's like,
the reason why they have tossed her out of the window is because fucking Tiffany Case is in his bed and she is going to have sex with him. Now, I cannot stress enough the Dom vibes that this woman has. And I mean, I got this drop.
Good boy.
I mean,
You got that drop for personal reasons.
Yeah, I did. I'm gonna be playing that to myself later. Anyway, yeah. So his line is, "I'm the condemned man, so you must be the hearty breakfast." Which, oh, gross.
Honestly, like,
dude.
he's taken off his tuxedo at this point, and he looks like he's had a few too many hearty breakfasts
because he is fucking hairy.
He's in bad shape. He doesn't look good. He's meant to be naked, but he's clearly wearing a modesty patch.
Isn't like... Wouldn't you say last meal? Where's hearty breakfast come from?
Breakfast.
I have no idea.
It's also not the morning when he says it, so there's no excuse about it being the morning.
No. Your traditional hearty breakfast. Also, like after they're fucking, right? She puts a cigarette out on the ashtray he has balanced on his chest. I genuinely thought she was just putting a cigarette out on him.
I didn't see
and
it.
I was just
the ashtray's
like,
black.
Yeah, okay.
He has so much chest out. I didn't realize that there was an ashtray there until she put a cigarette out on him, and I was like, holy fuck.
Oh shit. Okay.
It reminded me as a hairy-chested man that I relied up until Daniel Craig on James Bond. You know, that's hairy-chested representation.
Representation,
yeah.
Because Pierce Brosnan had a good old chest shrug. He was the last one. Can you guys name anyone after Pierce Brosnan who was like a main like male action guy who had chest hair?
Ooh.
Me?
Fucking teased that one up, didn't you? Jesus.
Not anymore, but back in the day.
No, you paid good money to not.
It's all gone now, yeah.
Good lord. Well, anyway. Tiffany and Bond try and like double cross the mob. They're going to split the diamonds. They're going to leave town. And so he sends her to collect the diamonds at Circus, which looks like the absolute worst place on earth.
Yeah. So this is the point where you start to see like some of that more era silliness. Like
there's an elephant that plays a slot machine, and you're just like, it's like a sight gag, and you're just like meant to be like,
yeah, there's a sight gag in a fucking Bond movie.
Where the
like
fuck
the
did that
elephant
come
pulls
from?
it, and then it cuts to the fucking slot machine, which has come up three elephants on a thing, and it's like.
You could easily intercut it with all the horrifying scenes from Fear and Loathing.
There's a bit in Fear and Loathing where Hunter S. Thompson describes Circus as the Sixth Reich.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Bond of course fits in perfectly. Anyway, so Felix Leiter's agents are following Tiffany Case as she collects the diamonds, and she escapes them easily. She outwits the CIA by the simple expedient of ducking through a racist sideshow.
Yeah.
This whole sequence goes on way too long. I mean, we're getting through it at a brisk pace, but like the editing, the moment-to-moment editing here is really bad. Like the attention wanders.
We're almost an hour into this movie, and the racist sideshow, incidentally, is Zambora, a black woman, transforms into a man in a gorilla suit. And this is terrifying.
When they introduce the racist sideshow, do they make like a deliberate? I level with you. I couldn't be bothered to rewind.
That's fair.
But I think it was like Nairobi, South Africa.
Yeah, they do say that. Yeah.
They did say that. Okay, so they're deliberately being wrong about Africa as well. To be like, isn't this a silly sideshow? As opposed to a kind of harrowing throwback to the slave trade that we've created here. That is somehow even more racist than if we just left.
Yeah. Well, we've got some racism out of the way. What about some extra bonus-free misogyny? Because didn't we all enjoy Plenty O'Toole in the like 2 scene she was in? Well, she's fucking dead. She's dead.
Yeah. Really jarring clash in tones here.
Very mixed vibes.
Yo, you seen this elephant? Incidentally, dead woman.
The reason why she's dead as well, it's not particularly well explained within the text of the movie because they cut almost all of her scenes. So there's a cut scene before they go up to their room where Plenty gets jealous of Bond looking at like another woman. They go up to their room. Then there's a cut scene after she's thrown out the window and after Bond's fallen asleep with Tiffany, where Plenty comes back into the room and like goes through Tiffany's handbag and finds her address. And then there's another cut scene where she shows up to the address and Wint and Kid are there, and they like mix up the two, imagine that she's...
Yeah, and they drown her in a swimming pool.
Drown her. But all of those are cut. So all you get is just like, isn't Tiffany fun? She's dead now.
Yeah, it was very strange. So we were missing a whole scene where Wint and Drill were like, nice breasts. Did your father have a huge penis? And then...
Yeah, is your dad single? Yeah, no. So
she's been attached to a concrete block and drowned in the pool. We get like
it's horrible.
close-up of her waterlogged face.
Back.
It's
I'm
pretty...
so sorry. That Win and Kid show up and they're like, great. I need to get your father's recipe for this.
Yeah, so Bond, of course, has one expedient when it comes to women, which is to slap them until words fall out, which he does.
Mm-hmm.
And
there it is.
Yeah, as a consequence that he sneaks into, he like, oh god, fuck. There's a bit in a gas station where he like tries to distract her while he sneaks into the back of a van, and she's like just yelling incomprehensibly at the gas station guy. She's like, you had one shot, Curly, and you blew it, and it's just like, what? And anyway,
they sneak into a secret base. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah, Willard White Tektronics. Willard White is this casino owner in the movie. He's Howard Hughes, basically. Mm-hmm. And Howard Hughes was a famous aviation pioneer and then recluse. He got severe mental illness and isolated himself on the top floor of a casino in Vegas, which he owned, and just sort of ran stuff remotely from there. And so this is this guy in this movie is Willard White. So Bond sneaks into this lab where they're building a kind of diamond laser thing.
They don't tell us that right away. We don't even find out what they're doing straight away.
No, we don't.
No.
He's just kind of sneaking into a lab.
Yeah, he's just kind of fucking around.
They whip out the diamond laser satellite like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. That's
Bond's just like, I haven't sneaked into a lab in a while. Have you got any labs around here? I need to sneak into a lab.
What we do instead of explaining the diamond thing is just a bit of like interpersonal comedy where he like tailgates a guy in and pretends he works there and then like takes his identity and pokes around in a lab coat. But his cover gets blown and he gets chased out, and it's time for, I have written down here, 2 consecutive car chase sequences which fucking drag. But the way that he escapes, right, is he dives across a set where they're filming the moon landing. Question mark.
This is the start of what became quite silly in the Moore movies. They're just like playing around with occasionally doing some weird shit.
Now, my favorite detail about this, right, is so there are these 2 astronauts who are like replicating the moon landing, and they have a lunar rover there, which Bond is going to steal to drive out in. But as he like dives in, somebody in the control room is like, "Hey, stop him!" And one of the astronauts lunges at him, but he misses him because he's moving at moon speed. No fucking
the astronaut is so committed to the role that he's
a ruthless commitment to the bit that he just like lunges at him like he's in zero gravity, like he's just like, and Bond just runs around him.
So good, actually.
It's very strange.
We don't see him hide on the moon set. He just is on the moon set.
Yeah.
And then the security just come in through one door and go, there he is, behind the rock.
Yeah, the moon set that we have for some reason.
Is he making out with himself?
On the moon? like a bad improv yes and.
Yeah. So we get a chase across the desert where Bond.
I heard the moon.
Yeah, but Bond is driving this lunar rover. He's being chased by guys on dirt bikes. He escapes them, and then immediately thereafter, back to back, we're back in Vegas. And
the entire way through that first chase scene, dudes are just crashing left, right, and center.
Yeah, 100%.
Like they're just gently falling over.
The cars that they use in the chase scene, it's like Blofeld has gone, okay, I need to equip my desert base with some kind of security vehicles. I'm going to go with like low slung, boxy, wide, like steel framed street cars.
It's called Buying American, and Blofeld practices it. Oldsmobile 88s all day. So like we see a bunch of like 70s American boxy cars just get fucking wrecked in this movie. Both in the desert and then in the immediate next scene where Bond drives circles around the cops in Vegas because they have called the cops on him for being a moon saboteur.
There's a famous era where Bond like drives the car up onto a little ramp and tilts it onto its side in order to drive through a narrow alley. And when the car comes out the other side, it's tilted over the wrong way. And there's a very awkward insert in the middle where they show them like changing orientations, despite the fact that would be like physically impossible.
Yeah,
that's true. I thought that was weird. I didn't realize that it was a fuck up.
Yeah, and of course afterwards, we get another sort of a preview of what is going to become another standby for the Moore period, which is a dumb sheriff like throwing his hat on the ground and being like, tarnation, that damn Bond. You can see why they wanted Burt Reynolds for this, right?
Is it like, where did that come from in terms of thinking? Was it just for the Americans, or did they?
Because the reason why is On Her Majesty's Secret Service did quite well, but not in America. It made its budget back and then some, but only in foreign markets, only in Europe and then Asia and so on. So like for this one, they're like, we've got to get America back on side, so we'll just set the whole fucking thing there, and we'll do as much American shit as we can to get them interested. We'll give Felix Leiter a bigger role, even though he's like less interesting now.
Bond does Vegas essentially.
Yeah, very much. So Bond and Tiffany move into the bridal suite in Willard White's casino, the White House, with a Y.
I gotta be honest with you. I think diamond smuggling usually isn't this complex.
No.
I've actually written down a little flow chart here of what happens to diamonds over the course of this movie, if anyone's interested. Okay. And as far as I can tell, up until a point, which I will note, this is all going according to plan.
Yes.
Okay, so the diamonds are smuggled out of that mine by that dentist.
Who is killed. They're then handed off to Wynton Kidd, who go to Amsterdam to turn it into a chandelier in Tiffany Case's house. Yeah.
From there, it's transferred into a coffin, up a
into
guy.
An anus.
Into an anus
of a man in the coffin, over to America.
Yeah.
To Morton Slumber's crematorium, where it's extracted via cremation, dropped off in an urn in the wall, which is then immediately picked up by Shady Tree. Shady takes the diamonds to Vegas, places them inside one of the stuffed toys in the circus, and then I've got a couple of question marks, and then the toy is now at Willard White's lab.
Yes. You could just hire one guy.
Streamlined a little.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you streamline it, that's fewer people that you get your gay assassins to have to kill.
Oh, it's make work for the gay assassins.
Yeah, it's called Universal Basic Income.
Creator.
That's right. That is right. So Bond mountaineers up the side of the fucking casino with a grappling gun in his tuxedo still.
Genuinely a very tense, like, climbing.
I got a bit of vertigo.
Like,
yeah, it's like
shit. Like,
I didn't like it.
Good.
Yeah, it was that there's the one special effects that actually carried over to a modern screen where I was like, this is actually, I hate this. This is awful.
Yeah, it's actually high up. Yeah. So he infiltrates Willard White's penthouse. He lands on a sort of a comically well-equipped toilet when he gets in there, because the one joke that this movie has about Howard Hughes is Howard Hughes be shitting. Not sure why. There's a bit later on where somebody's like, "Oh, there's a phone call for you, Mr. White," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take it in the John."
Yeah, this guy loves toilet time.
Yeah, and I mean,
this guy be shitting.
It's representation and it's IBS positivity, but
why does he like? Because it can't be because he likes, like, oh, I get fine. You know, I'm a famous recluse and I never see anyone, but I finally get some alone time in the toilet.
He just loves shitting. He just loves it.
He just loves it.
Yeah.
He made a mistake. He made his toilet more comfortable than any of his chairs, so now he's just on it all the time.
So
he's just started moving his entire office in there.
Bond infiltrates the penthouse only to find, oh shit, Willard White is fucking Blofeld, and also there's two Blofelds.
It's me, 007.
Yes.
I'm Blofeld, I'm gay now.
How's it going? I'm gay with myself. You have to make out with your own arms, but I can make out with this double anytime I want. Yeah, so...
He does the swivel chair reveal. When Bond walks in, he turns around in a swivel chair.
He does.
He finally does it.
Because he's been disguising his voice this whole time. He's been doing quite a heavy Texan kind of, "Well, partner, aren't you mosey on in here?"
The reason why he's able to disguise himself is he has a voice box, which he describes like this, right?
Science was never my strong suit, but
yes, it is.
Principle's easy enough. Someone's voice patterns and resonance stored in a small oral signature tape.
Oral signature tape. First of all,
that doesn't seem...
you were a scientist in the last movie. but second of all, yeah, fine. He picks up the phone and it makes him Texan.
I think you could just do the voice, man.
Yeah, that was my question. It's like, how many impressions can Blofeld do?
Yeah, apparently none. Apparently,
just get worse and worse.
Genitally none.
Bond, we've had a chilling phone call from Christopher Walken.
Now, this is from a later
and also
on, but
from
just
you, Bond. You sound like Sean Connery.
Yeah, if you want to know what Willard White sounds like, and this is the voice that Blofeld does, this is how he says Baja, California.
Baja?
Oh, Jesus.
I haven't got a thing at Baja.
Just add an extra syllable to everything. Yeah, but Bond...
You guys just wait till you hear the accent that I've got to do in this TV show. Just wait.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like this.
Bond is owned. He is taunted by the two Blofelds. And then the cat is there, the white cat that Blofeld has. And so,
honestly,
what Bond does...
I would love a body double to just do bits with.
Make out with yourself.
Also to fuck.
Yeah.
But like mainly to do bits with.
So Bond does this the obvious smart thing, which is he like throws the cat and sees who it runs to. And he shoots the Blofeld that it runs to with the grappling gun, and it kills him dead. And then, of course, another identical cat runs out into the real Blofeld's arms, and he's just like, "Yeah, you really got to stop killing my doubles like this." He has this incredible moment. Charles Gray sells this so hard, but it's like where he's like, "We went to all this time and expense making a third double just so you could have that little heroic moment, and it didn't fucking do anything." And he pulls a gun on Bond. He's like, "Right, fuck off. Go downstairs now."
He refuses to tell him the plan. He's like, "What's your evil plan?" He's like, "I'm not going to fucking tell you. I'm tired. Go away."
Yeah, 100%. Also, they're in a room where this is Willard White's room. That Bond asks, "Where's Willard?" And he's like, "Oh, he's somewhere. Don't worry about it, mate." And the whole floor of this room is like a map of all of Willard White's various companies, various holdings across America, and one of them is this massive, great spiked missile. That Bond keeps like playing with the tip of, and Blofeld's like, "That won't do as a weapon. You realize that, right?"
Yeah,
and then he just stops touching it for the entire rest of the scene.
So like he's just like, "Yes, take the elevator out of my penthouse instead of having to climb back down." And the line that he gives him is like he like instructs him how to use the elevator.
You press L, Mr. Bond. The word lobby begins with L.
Which, of course, I just pulled.
L, Mr. Bond.
And I will be using that for the rest of the podcast anytime Bond is owned. But Bond is, of course, smart enough to realize that this is a trap. And so he like tries to like step out of the way because he thinks the floor's going to drop out from under him. But rather than being a trap that just kills him, oh no, of course not. This is the trap. This is the kind of trap that like knocks Bond unconscious in order to allow him to be placed in an easily escapable death trap. So he wakes up in a pipeline buried in the desert.
Kid and Wint, they bury him in a pipe in the desert.
Yeah, he stinks of Wint's aftershave too. And then like a pipe cleaning rig comes along at about 2 miles an hour, and Bond easily hops onto it.
Yeah, what was the deal with, because as they Gay put him in the boot and then Gay drove him to the desert.
Yeah.
The aftershave, like, did that fall out of Wint's pocket?
No, Wint's just putting on aftershave.
He's always spraying himself with it.
But
like in a lot of scenes, he's just spraying
They chucked Bond on it and it broke. I thought that was like, is that the antidote to the fucking gas? What is this? Why am I watching this?
No, it's his aftershave. It comes back later.
Yeah, it's gay aftershave. So,
honestly, at this point, I wrote like, I just shoot him, first of all, with a gun. But like, I didn't even think that could have killed him. I didn't even think there was any possibility where that could have killed him.
No, the pipeline isn't filled with anything, ever. It's just a tube.
Because he escapes by walking out of the tube.
He just leaves.
He just leaves.
You just put him in a
They
room.
bury him underground and he just leaves.
Yeah. He's sealed in and he kind of tricks a robot into sending a distress signal, right? But what was the pipe for? Was it like water or oil?
We have no idea. So Bond is then, he plays Blofeld's own trick back on him with the aid of a voice box. He impersonates Blofeld's sort of a second in command. My notes simply say, this MF named Bert Saxby.
He was called Bert Saxby.
And he tricks Blofeld into revealing where the real Willard White is. Which is like literally just his summer house. You could have just gone there at any time. Whatever. It's fine.
Literally the first place you'd look.
Yeah.
It's not even summer.
Willard White is being guarded by 2 female wrestlers.
I'm Bambi.
Good morning, Bambi.
And I'm Thumper.
I'm not sure why they're dubbed so poorly. However, I will be, again, reconsidering
Lesbians, Mr. Bond.
Reconsidering this scene for personal use. That they very nearly kill Bond by simply just by choking him with their thighs. It rocks. Big fan of this. Unfortunately, they do not succeed in killing James Bond.
They throw him into the pool, and then Bond wins the fight simply by being stronger. Like, he doesn't outskill them in any way. He just successfully manages to hold both of them underwater.
But it shows you that Bond's predation system is very similar to the freshwater crocodile.
That's true.
If you let it get you in the water, you will not win. You have to, on land, you have a chance. But their mistake was to follow him into the water.
Yeah.
I mean, Largo learned this. Do not fight Bond underwater.
Incidentally, when they rescue Willard White, he is also shitting. I don't know why he's...
Yes, he is shitting again, isn't he? He flushes the toilet and comes out and he...
This motherfucker's shitting.
I think there's something to be said. We missed this a little, but there's something to be said for the fact that increasingly the tertiary antagonist in these movies is the government telling Bond that he has to show restraint. It never came up in like the first 4, but in the last 2, both times he's wanted to go after someone who he imagines to be Blofeld and has been told either by the British or the American government, no, just wait, man.
Right before he does the sort of climbing expedition, the reason why he does it is because Felix just tells him, no, you can't just go up there.
Was it some kind of thing where like slowly everyone realized like, hey, do you know what the kids like these days is the whole, you're a loose cannon, McNulty. We need to build that in.
What it is.
Whereas in the old days, they were like, he's very good. He murdered exactly who the Queen told him to.
so now that his cover is blown, Blofeld escapes the casino in drag because, as I put in my notes, Blofeld gay. And he escapes dressed like fucking Mrs. Doubtfire. He kidnaps Tiffany Case on the way out.
There's a cute scene where we see that Q is cheating at slots, which I enjoyed.
That was good.
Being a fucking nerd.
Can we make the episode art for this Blofeld and drag? Because there's
absolutely we can.
Yeah, because he's
look what the cat dragged in. It's so cute.
It's so fucking camp.
I did so dread having to make this long journey alone. That's why he's pleased to see
Japanese.
You must apologize for this odd mix of genders. I refuse to be entirely female.
Oh my god! So the Bond and the real Willard White chase down this satellite, but it's too late. And what the satellite does is it fires a laser beam, which Blofeld uses to destroy an American ICBM, a Soviet nuclear sub, and a
Chinese man,
and a single Chinese man.
A single red Chinese soldier.
Single Chinese man, Mr. Bond. Another sort of leg of the 3-legged stool of nuclear supremacy. One Chinese guy.
I'm afraid they've killed the only Chinaman who knows how to press the button.
God damn it.
They turn the laser on a bunch of rockets and we see one Chinese man go, and then that's it.
I like the guy. He really
his face is incredible.
That's also potential episode art.
Yeah. But what we find is that Blofeld's plan is he has the power to neutralize nuclear weapons with this big space laser. And he is going to auction off nuclear supremacy. He's like, well, whichever country pays me the most, you get to keep your nukes.
Fair enough.
It's pretty clever.
I just wanted to say to Blofeld at that point, hey, man, you have a casino full of diamonds. What?
Using those diamonds to get money, which is better than diamonds, because
he's sending him into space.
But I just wanted to say to him, just make me a list of what you can't buy.
Seriously, man, like what he doesn't say how much the money is for as well, which is a mistake that they made several times before, where he was like, yes, £100 million, which is like less than the plan could have possibly cost to pull
Blofeld
off.
could be anywhere within Willard White's huge business empire, but by pure chance they realize he's in
Baja.
Why? I don't know.
Baja.
He's got an
Oil
oil rig.
rig.
An oil rig
very
off
cool.
of
Baja.
where
L, Mr. Bond.
L. Where he is orchestrating this, and he's controlling the satellite using a little cassette tape, which Bond has seen around before. And so Bond infiltrates the base. He arrives in a fucking Zorb. He is parachuted in, and he Zorbs in.
He does Zorb in, and they're about to shoot him down, and then Blofeld's like, no.
Let's see what he's got to say. I have to own this man once again, and so he does, because he brings Bond on board, and what he says is,
Surely you haven't come to negotiate, Mr. Bond. Your pitiful little island hasn't even been threatened.
Fucking
get his ass.
Get
his
I
ass.
definitely wanted to flag that. L, Mr. Bond.
How much has Britain's prestige fallen in the last couple of these movies?
Oh, well, that's the 70s, right? Where it's just everything was in the toilet and everyone was depressed.
Because of Jeremy Corbyn.
007, I haven't even threatened your pathetic little island. Mad Mark says Jeremy Corbyn's driving it into the dirt already. There is really something to be said for how hard the prestige of England in its own eyes has fallen over the course of like 3 movies. Because in You Only Live Twice, there's this like a nuclear summit between the US and the USSR, and England is just also there to mediate on equal footing. And now they're just like, oh, fucking Turf Island. I don't give a shit about that.
Fuck off back to Droitwich 007. Yeah. So,
I'm threatening the big boys, 007. You wouldn't know about this.
Tiffany Case is there, but like we're meant to think she's evil. She's clearly not evil. She's just like undercover. Fine, whatever.
Blofeld has a couple of lovely lines when he's interacting with his henchmen.
Yeah.
Because there's one where, as Bond's plane is flying overhead, Blofeld says, "Stage 1 alert, please." To his henchman, he says the word please, which is very cute. And also when Bond sees that Tiffany is there, he says, "Jealousy from you, Mr. Bond. I'm flattered." It's so cute.
Blofeld has a 99% good boss rating on hench for these reasons. Also the fit. Like, these guys are wearing blue and orange jumpsuits the whole time.
This
with,
is
like,
again
orange boots.
The money thing where it's like, look, you not only do you have a private army, they don't even have to turn up in their own mercenary kit.
No.
You've got an outfitter, you've got your own gay assassins, you've got...
Right.
Also, I had a question. Is it made clear at any point why reclusive casino owner Willard White has top-level government clearance and is allowed to launch satellites without anyone asking questions?
He's just cool. He's a cool guy.
That. Yeah.
Elon Musk
shit. It's America, goddammit. What the fuck do you mean?
Howard Hughes really was like Elon Musk shifted a generation.
Anyone can launch a rocket if they want.
Yeah. So Bond switches the control tape for a fake one, and then sort of because Tiffany Case allows him to, and then he like calls her a bitch to throw people off the set. And he's just like,
bitch.
Which
bitch. That's an awful lot of ice, bitch.
Well done.
Oh,
yeah. So
Bond is so good.
So she's pretending to be evil, and so Bond comes in with a fake tape, and Blofeld's like, "Oh, you've got a fake tape, not going to work." And Tiffany gives him back the fake tape, and Bond swaps them. But then there's some shenanigans where she doesn't realize that he swapped them, so she swaps them back, and she puts the real one back in.
She's wearing nothing at this point. She starts out wearing a bikini, and then she's like, "Oh, can I come tour the facilities with you, Ernst?" And he's like, "Yeah, but put something on so you don't distract all of my incredibly horny dudes."
She calls him Ernst. She calls him Ernst. It's so cute.
And so what she puts on over the bikini is like a bikini sweater.
It's another bikini.
Yeah, a second bikini.
It's a second, slightly larger bikini.
And like she puts Bond puts the tape like in her ass, So it's just like there's just a tape shape in her like ass on the bikini.
One place where everyone will be looking.
That's right.
Including Blofeld.
Including Blofeld. For some reason. Blofeld doesn't like he's not going to cuck him like Telly Savalas was, but he was like, you're showing a bit too much cheek, my dear. And then he's like, right, throw her in the brig as well. He has Bond and Tiffany Case thrown in the brig. The brig, right? I want to talk about the fucking brig.
Talk to me about the brig.
The brig. You have all of the money in the world. You have a fucking oil platform. You have an army of goons, and you anticipate that you're going to have to take someone prisoner because you let Bond on the thing, and then you throw him into a supply closet full of supplies with a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
He just drops a rope which is already in there out of a hole in the floor and just like shimmies down it.
I think it's honestly a world record for how fast Bond leaves a room after being imprisoned.
This movie loves putting Bond in like the most easily escapable situations and trying to sell that as like perilous. It's fucking great.
Good luck wriggling out of this one, James. Ah, shit.
Fuck. Fuck.
In order to escape this prison, you'll have to beat this robot at making a martini.
It's like an introductory level in a point and click adventure. You're just put in a room. There is one interactable object. It's a rope. There is a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
They're counting on him not trying. They're counting on like gentleman's word of honor. Like, no, don't try to escape, please.
Yeah.
Like he's an officer in the Napoleonic War. Like he's given his word that he won't try to escape.
So Blofeld realizes that things are going a bit tits up because the Marines and Felix Leiter and Willard White start to assault the thing, and he gets a cool moment
where we see the
like,
special effects budget has been spent on Sean Connery because the SFX is terrible.
Yeah, do you want to see a helicopter blow up? Well, do not watch this movie. He like unfurls the base's defenses, and they could have reused footage. Yeah,
they could have reused the footage from You Only Live Twice, where they showed the same helicopter blowing up like 5 times.
Blofeld, what's the other thing we know about Blofeld is that he's a coward, right? Or he's the only person in these movies with a sense of self-preservation. And so, as shit starts to go wrong, he picks up a phone and he says,
"Prepare my batho sub immediately."
Fucking excuse me?
"Prepare my batho sub immediately."
Your what?
It's batho sub.
My bamboo sub.
My batho sub. Prepare my batho sub. I can't say submarine because I'm a homosexual.
Where one of the henchmen, the senior henchman, is just like, "This is going tits up," like, and he's like, "No, shut up! Like, return to your post." And then he kind of idles over to a phone, and he's like, "Prepare my batho sub immediately."
What my batho sub?
I didn't get the he had that like second in command who was like, "This is going terribly. I'm freaking out," and he'd been freaking out for like 10 minutes by that point. And the question that I thought Blofeld should have asked him is, okay, now you think it's gone weird.
I have a drop, which I originally I forgot it because I was originally going to use it for the theme instead of Mr. Bond, which is when his second in command is like, listen, they've got to acquiesce to your demands. They can't attack us. He's like,
yes, great powers flexing their military muscles like so many impotent beach boys.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
The Beach Boys.
Are you familiar with the works of the Beach Boys?
Impotent Beach Boys.
I enjoyed Sloop John B, but the other tricks were dirge to me, Mr. Bond.
Impotent Beach Boys.
But genuinely, he should have just said to his second in command, okay, so you were fine with diamond laser satellites blowing up actual nukes, but you don't want to go for a swim. You know, what...
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
Come on.
The best thing is his second in command is like some environmentalist guy that he's just managed to get on board by being like, yeah, this will make world peace, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I don't think this is going to make world peace anymore.
Yeah. But Blofeld loves fucking easily tricking these guys. Yeah. So Blofeld tries to escape in the
It's
batho
not like
sub.
a credulous hippie to get wallet inspected by an evil multi-billionaire.
I've never heard of this kind of thing happening.
Blofeld tries to escape in the batho sub, which is just literally like a little tiny submarine. And Bond takes control of the crane it's attached to, and like the blunt instrument he is, disables the super weapon by slamming Blofeld into it repeatedly. Great.
It's kind of funny.
Cool. Yeah.
In a scenario where he's repeatedly had access to several machine guns.
Yeah. No, he just like hits it with a crane. And this works. He like saves the world again.
He goes for the special environmental kill so we can get the spinning silver 007 above his head. Like in his head, he says that to himself.
Yeah, Tiffany is like blown overboard when she tries to shoot somebody, and the recoil from the submachine gun like knocks her off the edge of the thing, and then Bond just dives after her, and that's it. Except we have one last loose end to tie up, which is Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill.
We've got some gay assassins.
We've got some gay loose ends to tie up in this.
Yeah, so Bond and Tiffany are going home on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And
it's all inclusive, Mr. Bond.
Yes. Two gay waiters arrive, Mr. Wint and Mr. Drill, in waiter garb. And they're preparing them like shashlik, like kebabs, salad utopia, and I'll just give you the drop, shan't I?
For dessert, the pièce de résistance. Our bombe surprise.
Now, at this point, Mr. Kidd is arming a clockwork bomb, which he is putting under a cake shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a smart way of killing someone.
Yeah, the bomb's a freeze.
2 attempts at this so far, and they've gone, okay, we've been beating around the bush a bit too much here.
Yeah, we're going to kill him with a bomb.
We tried cremating him. We tried putting him in a pipe, ? We're going to go for a nice, clean, sensible kill.
Yeah, instead, however...
clockwork bomb.
Bond,
set up
once
a
again...
bomb on a ship that we are on.
Yes.
Genius.
all I have to say...
Very clever idea.
Hell, Mr. Bond.
So, Bond does the fucking red wine with fish thing again, right?
But the wine is quite excellent. Although for such a grand meal, I had rather expected a claret.
Of course. Unfortunately, our cellar is rather poorly stocked with clarets.
Mouton Rothschild is a claret.
Fucking got you. See, you think you're pretending to be a sommelier, but you don't know about a claret, and you definitely weren't just obliging me because I can get you fired. Anyway, also, I can smell your gay aftershave, and I've smelled that before, so I know you're the same guy who put me in that pipe, which I don't know why I'm taking so personally because I just walked out of there.
Pipe me.
I tried to give me that pipe.
I know you tried to pipe me.
Like, plenty of tools, Dad.
Given the way that they both look and behave, and they shuffle in uninvited with these suspicious trays of weird-looking prop food, going, "Oh, hello." And one of them looks like, an evil serial killer suspect guy with a lank hair.
Looks like my brother on Stag.
Yes, exactly. And they're both kind of eyeing him like, well, and up to the claret point, James Bond is like, two perfectly normal waiters. I see no reason to...
They do, everything up to the fucking, Nosferatu suspicious walk of how are you doing, Mr. Bond?
We hope you're having a murderous cruise, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, so they then try to kill him. Mr. Wint tries to strangle him with a Tastavin on a chain. Mr. Kidd comes at him with a couple of flaming kebabs.
Again, a gun would be quite good.
Not really clear what he intended to do with those.
Just stab him with the flaming kebabs, I guess. Bond throws alcohol on him and he catches light and falls into the ocean.
Courvoisier.
Yeah. Once again, another sort of moment. Mr. Wint is seemingly very upset that his partner has been killed and redoubles his effort to kill Bond. But we're not getting out of this movie without homophobia, right? So the way in which in which Bond kills him is to pull the tails of his waiter coat up between his legs, causing him to make two if I had to explain the concept of a homophobic noise, it would take too long. But if I just give you the drop, you'll know what I mean.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just
I like how he's just seen his murder husband get set on fire and fall off the side of a ship, but that's no excuse not to have a good time having your, not even genitals, but just between your legs vaguely touched by James Bond.
Getting a wedgie, essentially, off of James Bond is enough to send me into a flight of rapture.
Yeah.
And then he like flips him off the first of all, he ties the fucking clockwork bomb to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like flips him off the edge, and he explodes upon contact with the water.
Which again, the bomb does no damage to the boat that they're on.
No one even fucking notices.
Honestly, like you threw a chunk of like alkali metal into the water.
Yeah, that's right.
Immediately on contact.
That's the movie.
No one has ever attacked. Like when he has the flaming kebabs and he goes for James Bond, he moves as slowly as I would move if I was trying to be careful with some flaming kebabs.
He's still in server mode. Don't worry. He's doing
He's like also once
he's like, these kebabs.
Once the kebabs catch light, the actor changes into asbestos gloves in between shots, which I like. Yeah, so that's the movie. That's Diamonds Are Forever. What did we all think? How was our experience of watching this movie?
It was a busy film.
Almost 2 hours.
It went on a bit.
There's no pacing to it. It's not edited in any way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed discovering that the comedian Shady Trees is a real comedian, or was.
Really?
He's a real stand. They got a real stand-up, a real like old school. There's clips of him on late night shows and stuff. It's very strange.
You think they would have let him tell a joke?
Yeah, the bits he did weren't good.
Yeah, there's like 3 jokes that I was initially going to be very scornful, and then I remembered all the times that I've ever seen a non-comedy show try and portray stand-up, and they don't let the stand-up guest starring in it do their own jokes, or studio whatever it was, Aaron Sorkin, where they were okay, we're going to do a drama set behind the scenes of a comedy show, and all the comedy sketches will be written by the drama people. You go, okay, please don't do that.
I can tell you right now, that's
horrible idea.
One student review would be better than whatever your fucking Agatha Christie ghostwriters think are comedy sketches. So I would have held that against Shady Trees, but then I thought the poor guy has had to amuse Barbara Broccoli.
That is awkward. Yeah, it's a shame.
Like Saltzman.
But we have a science-based system on this podcast.
We do. A unique patent pending.
The scum spectrum. We rate out of 007 SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. So what are we going to give this film on SMARM? I think it's pretty high, but not the full set.
I think that Bond gets outsmarmed by fucking Blofeld in this movie.
I think he does.
Easily.
You press L, Mr. Bond. The word lobby begins with L.
Fucking owned. In fact, he has a line about being smug.
As La Rochefoucauld observed, humility is the worst form of conceit. I do hold a winning hand.
Fucking got his ass, you know? So
yeah.
I think Bond himself might have a slightly lower SMARM than usual.
How are we feeling about a 4? 5? Want to go higher?
I could see a 4. I could see a 4.
I could see a 4.
Is this out of 007?
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is. Of course it is.
All right.
Now,
I thought it was going to be out of 10.
cultural insensitivity. I mean, it's not as racist as previous Bond films, but gay culture is a culture.
Well, I mean, the whole diamond smuggling sequence at the start is not the greatest.
Lest we forget Zamora
trail
from Nairobi, South Africa, turning into a gorilla.
I mean, at least, I guess at least it depicts the diamond industry in South Africa under apartheid as corrupt. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, fine. And it's not as if the racism was central to the plot.
They dabbled. They just went, okay, he beats up 2 racial archetypes at the start, and then there's a bit of Diamond Africa shenanigans, but mainly it's Vegas, baby!
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And also, next movie, we're going to have to bring out the fucking victims on this
100%.
on the racism part of the spectrum. So,
but also the film is very, very homophobic, and I think it has to get, because gay culture is a culture. Like, it's
true.
So I think we've got to score it fairly highly for that. I'm tempted to go as high as a 6.
I could go. You've sold me on 6 easily.
Yeah, you could tell me.
Yeah, it was a 5 till that last noise.
Woo!
it was all right up till woo, and then it was like,
hold on, I'll give it to you again. Yeah, that's your 6 right there.
The homophobic noise. Yeah. Unprovoked
Oh,
violence,
Mr. Drill.
surprisingly high for this one. I mean,
strangles a
R.I.P.
woman with
Peter
her
Franks.
own bra in the in the pre-credit sequence.
Murders a man in cold blood in a lift.
Yep. It's high. It's real high.
It's higher than any of the previous
It's
Bond
weird
films
that
have
this
been,
is
certainly. It's not as high as it's
It's
going to
weird
get.
that on the numbers this is going so high for a movie that is largely so forgettable to watch.
I think maybe that's why they've replaced the plot with lights and smoke. You know, they've just gone heavy on nonsense.
Replace this plot with homophobia.
I mean, Bond's just going from place to place and just seeing things happen around him.
Yeah.
What are we thinking then for unprovoked violence?
It's got to be high.
Plenty of tools.
It's got to be like 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now,
that only leaves us with misogyny.
Misogyny. Well, first of all, I've written here in my notes, Plenty O'Toole is the most unjustly treated woman in history.
It's up there. She seems quite nice, and then it's just like, wow, she was nice, wasn't she?
Yeah,
dead.
it is fully just a Bunta Vista bit. Well, she's dead. She's dead.
They tried to make her unsympathetic immediately by having her be like, "You've lost all your money at gambling, slightly overweight middle-aged man, so I'm not going to suck you off now."
Do you want to know what that slightly middle-aged, slightly overweight guy says?
Well, that's it, pussycat. Shot the whole wad.
I was waiting for a chance to use that.
That's it, pussycat. Shot the whole lot. Do you want to go up to my room? And she's like, oh, you're sweet, but actually, no, you're poor now. Sorry. And to be fair, I respect it. This doesn't make it unsympathetic to me.
You press L, Mr. Bond.
Fucking, hey, Mr. Franks, you want to sit in the front?
Tiffany does have a little bit more agency in this one, and it's nice that she's closer to Sean Connery's
He doesn't
age.
reform her either. Like at the very end,
she has a
she's like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" It's kind of early in our relationship, and you're meant to think, "Oh, is she gonna marry him?" She's like, "How the fuck do we get those diamonds back down?" And it's like that's quite fun. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How do we get the diamonds back from space?
Yeah, how do we deorbit this and keep the diamonds intact?
That's where you want to say, there are other diamonds, right? Like you've been a smuggler this whole time.
Yeah, I don't really understand these things I've been smuggling.
Yeah.
I
imagine there's a very finite amount, and it's 7, and they're all in space.
So what are we thinking for misogyny then?
I could go as low as a 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'd say 3, also because of the lesbian acrobat murder.
I'm gonna be thinking about Bambi and Thumper for the rest of my fucking life.
Yeah. He does beat a couple
but
of women.
not in the way they intended you to.
No, but that's the thing. Much like the guy who replied to us about Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, I have simply, as with Rosa Klebb and her sort of little interrogation scene, I have simply extracted the bits that I like from their context, and I'm going to squirrel them away for the rest of my life.
So is this more or less misogynistic than the Lazenby one, which was a 4?
I'd say equal.
Okay.
Yeah,
As a
I'd
4,
say on equal footing.
Which gives us a total score of 19, which is pretty good by the Connery standards. It's equal to From Russia with Love, and certainly not as bad as Goldfinger. But still, the best Bond film so far is still on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
That's right. That is right. Never let them make you do a second movie. Only do one. Make Sean Connery come back and do it, even though he's 90 years old. Yeah, great, absolutely.
Well, this isn't the last we've seen of Sean Connery either, because we are going to have to do Never Say Never Again.
Oh, Christ. Well,
at some point, that comes quite later on, though.
I don't think I've seen that either.
Yeah, they remade Thunderball.
What?
They were just like,
did it again.
let's try that one again.
Yeah, you're extremely welcome to come back on if you haven't suffered enough and watch Never Say Never Again.
Never Say Never Again. What is so there's just a straight remake?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why haven't I even heard of that?
Yeah, no, hang on.
Because it wasn't produced by Eon.
To.
Yes, we do. And in the meantime...
Yeah, Never Say Never Again, 1983 film starring Sean Connery, based on the 61 Bond novel Thunderball.
Based on what? That only remains for me to say. Thank you.
Well, first of all, Pierre, where can people find you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm enthralled to all the usual disgusting fucking websites like Twitter and Instagram and I guess Facebook, if anyone over 50 is listening. I do some sort of low commitment Twitch streaming, if anyone's interested in that. And I do a podcast with Phil Wang called Bud Pod, which is fun. It's not really about anything, like all the greatest podcasts. That's pretty much it. And then I guess it's been illegal for me to do my job of stand-up for like 14 months now, but you'll find me whenever it comes back. I might be doing it. When does shit become allowed again? It's basically August,
Pierre
September.
Novellie will return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen Pierre stand up. It is very, very good. I once went dressed as an admiral for no reason.
Yes. Are we the same person?
That's everyone's right.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I'm
right.
officially an admiral on my bank account for some time.
Well, thank you from me, Admiral Alice Caldwell Kelly, Admiral Abigail Thorne, Admiral Devon, Admiral Pierre Novellie. This has been Kill James Bond, and we will return with Live and Let Die. We're working out that fucking C-score, baby.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. Kill James Bond will return in 2 weeks' time to talk about Live and Let Die. I'm just coming fresh off the recording of that, so A, I'm a little bit drunk, and B, I'm insanely mad. So if you're looking forward to Devon yelling, "Oh baby," 2 weeks' time, see you there. The next bonus episode for patrons next week will be The Man from Hong Kong, a fantastic action movie which is an hour and 3/4 long and features 18 minutes of dialogue. I am not kidding when I say you're going to want to A, watch that actual movie, and B, subscribe to our Patreon so that you can get our words in your ears. Speaking, of course, of our patrons, special thanks to our £15 and above patrons who are Jack Holmes, Paint McCullough, Amanda Rogda, Nikki, Field Commissar, Jen, Kentucky Fried Commie, Amanda Comet, Jack Bushell, Larry Kins, Timothy Pajorni, Josh Simmons, Elizabeth Cox, Alfredo, Raoul Leal, Jonah Schwamberger, and Zoe Shepard. Your patronage helps us make this podcast the best it can possibly be, and I am eternally grateful. This has been Kill James Bond, starring Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer, as always, is the illustrious Nate Bethay, and our podcast art is by Matt Lipchansky. See you next time.